Betrayal stabs the hardest when it comes from an unseen blade. Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Cosy Reads. I hope you've all been keeping well. Welcome to part 9 of A Universe Moulded. As the skirmish pushed itself forward, Chastity and Cedric made their escape, cutting ties and making a powerful enemy with their former lord. By the way, I am feeling a little bit ill today, so if the recording doesn't sound as good, that's probably why. Should hopefully be feeling a little bit better for the next recording. Right, without further ado, let's jump in, and thank you for bearing with me. Hold tight, we need to push them back, a general in the First One's army called to his troops. While this may not have been a full-scale war, there were still a lot of people on the battlefield, and it was still a conflict befitting divine beings. We cannot lose here. We need to show these old ones that they are not wanted here. Destroy them. Send them back to their fallen god Malakoth with their tails between their legs, the general added. This caused a rallying cry to erupt from his troops. We will fight on, for the First Ones, the troops shouted before brandishing their weapons and charging further into the Old One's army. As the lord of the castle and the leader of the Old Ones approached each other, they could feel a tension between them. It was clear that they were both exceptionally powerful, and the First One could tell that this excited the Old One. I would much rather not have to fight, but if these Old Ones are not able to understand simple reasoning, just looking at his face it's clear that he wants a good fight and that's all he cares about. This is annoying, but for my kingdom and my people, I will engage. The First One thought to himself before pressing forward, swinging his blade up and then bringing it down in a straight slicing motion. This attack sent out a wave of pressure that cut through everything in its way until it reached the Old One, who swatted the attack away with ease. This really is going to be a drawn out fight, the First One said to himself. Sire, they are in position. The voice echoed to the Old One. It was a telepathic message, and he knew what it meant. It was time. As the First One swung down at the Old One, ready to cut him, the Old One caught the attack with his divine club before bringing the First One in closer and whispering to him. You might want to check if your house is in order. The Old One whispered to the First One before pushing him back and then pointing to his castle. The First One immediately realized what he meant. This was a distraction. They were trying to pincer them, have them stuck between two enemy forces and take the castle in the process. Cedric, head inside now and stop them, the First One bellowed. Cedric saw this as his chance. He immediately started heading towards the castle, grabbing Chastity along the way. They did not speak, one for fear of revealing themselves, and two, because they were too invested in their plan. The child has been moved and is safe. We should go, now, another one said as they met up with Cedric and Chastity. Good, then let's get moving before anyone realizes, Cedric responded. Chastity nodded her head and went with them. This plan had been in the making for a while, and so the Old Ones had already secured all of Cedric and Chastity's possessions. As they made their way out of the castle, Chastity turned and looked one more time at the castle, with Cedric doing the same. For all their qualms, the castle was a wonderful place. It was home for a long time, and it was sad to leave it. But they had no choice. To see the future they wanted, they had to make their betrayal. As the enemy troops advanced onto the battlefield from inside the castle, the First One was notified by his army of the advancing troops. Where is Cedric? He was sent in to push back the enemy. Why are they still advancing? As the First One said this, he received a response from one of his men, but the First One knew deep down the answer to his own question. He didn't even need to ask about Chastity, as a part of him told him everything. They were gone. As his men let him know of Chastity and Cedric's flight, the First One flew into a fit of rage. The Old One leader was mocking him. What kind of a ruler are you, to have your best people desert you in the middle of a war? Truly, this is a sad day for you. Lay down your arms, and just give up. As the Old One mocked and jeered, a blade found its way through his torso. The attack was so sudden and so quick that the Old One had no time to dodge or block. From there, the blade sliced its way up the Old One, splitting him in two, as his face of shock and anguish was rendered from him. From there, the First One cut off the Old One's head and held it high for all to see. It was a symbol that this war was over. While the First One feared that the war would carry on, hopefully the head would instill fear and worry into the hearts of the Old One army. Sadly, the Old One army were not afraid of anything. They turned tail and ran, not out of fear, but out of necessity. Their part was done. They were no longer needed here to fight. As the Old Ones retreated, everyone looked to the First One and cheered, throwing praise at their great leader for seeing them through this. However, The first one did not feel their sentiment. Even if you had killed the leader of the old ones, why would they retreat so easily? This was a planned attack, which meant taking the castle was never their intent. Their intent was to free Cedric and Chastity, taking them away from their first one master. The first one still did not have the why, but it was clear that this was planned, and it was clear that this was no accident. Cedric and Chastity wanted to leave, which means they have something they are hiding, something that the first one will find and destroy. And that brings chapter 9 to an end. I hope that you've all been enjoying the series, and I hope that you've all enjoyed this chapter as well. With this conflict coming to an end, Cedric and Chastity have fully realised their betrayal, and now the first one knows of their betrayal. The future of all the players is going to be interesting. So long as they can stay hidden, the child of pride and lust will turn out to be a true terror to the universe. So if you're liking this series and you want to see where it goes, then feel free to tune in next time for part 10 of A Universe Moulded. But until then, I hope you've all sufficiently warmed up and that this story has brought you some level of comfort. I wish you safe travels on the journey of life, and feel free to come back again when you need a new story to warm your day.